At the beginning of most patterns, it'll tell you that you need to check your gauge. And what that means, if you're reading your pattern and they've asked you to do a sample piece, they want to know exactly what your tension is. And by tension, I mean that some people knit tighter and some people knit looser. And so if you knit tight, then you will have more stitches per inch. And if you knit loose, you'll have less stitches per inch. When working this piece, you'll be working it in the stocking stitch. That's knitting a row and then purling a row and then knitting a row and continuing in that fashion. You'll cast on 17 stitches and you'll work in the stocking stitch until you have a total of 4 inches. After you have 4 inches, you'll want to measure to determine exactly how many stitches you have per inch. On the sample that I've completed, my gauge shows that I knit 4 stitches per inch across and 5 stitches up and down for an inch. So that is my gauge, 4 by 5. So once you've completed your gauge piece, you will know what your gauge is as well, and you'll be ready to move on to the next step. So let's get ready to cast on, and we will work on our gauge piece together. We're ready to begin the gauge piece now, and in order to begin, we'll need to cast on. And if you remember right, we'll start with a slip knot. You'll take the yarn around 2 fingers, behind, remove the 2 fingers, and bring the piece of yarn through and pull into a loop. Slide it onto your needle and pull the strings tight to secure. Put your thumb and first finger to separate the threads, grasping the yarns that are hanging free with the rest of your fingers on your hand, and then begin to cast on. So you'll point at your thumb, wrap around and secure, point at your finger, wrap around and secure, pull it through, remove your thumb, and pull it tight. So now we have 2 stitches. We need to have a total of 17 stitches on our needle. So let's go ahead and cast on the rest of the stitches. Again, point, wrap and secure, point, secure, through, remove, and pull. There's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Continue in this fashion until you have 17 stitches on your needle. Once you have 17 stitches on, you'll be ready to begin in the garter stitch. So you'll knit your first row. Remember to secure it around your little finger as you begin. Knit across the entire first row. Remember, on knitting, the thread is coming from behind. You're entering from the left side of the stitch, going front to back. Once you've completed the first row, go ahead and turn it around. Begin the second row by purling. Purl across the entire second row. And remember, in purling, your thread will be in front of your needle. You'll enter from behind and to the right of the stitch. You'll enter from back to front, wrap around, and pull it through and off. So we're going to purl across the entire row. You'll continue in this fashion until the entire piece measures a total of 4 inches long. At that point, you can stop and measure to get your gauge. Once you've completed your gauge piece, this is mine, looks like this. The easiest way to measure is if you have a tool called a knit check. This is a knit check tool, and it does a couple of different things. You can see across here it has all these different circles. What they're for is in case you ever come across needles that are unmarked, you can slide them into the hole and it will tell you exactly what size they are. It also has a measurement on this side and this side in inches and centimeters across the top. Some of the European patterns that you'll come across will have all of the instructions in metric system. So it's good to have a tool that does both. This part that's open is expressly for this purpose of measuring your gauge. So you can lay it onto the top of your piece like this, and you can see exactly how many stitches across and exactly how many stitches up and down. And so what we're measuring for at this time is how many stitches there are per inch. So we're needing to know exactly how many stitches there are in 1 inch this direction and also 1 inch this direction. Once you've figured out your gauge, be sure to write that information down so that we can use it in the next part of our project.
Thanks for watching. Click on the next step or replay to watch another video, and please rate, comment, and subscribe. You can also visit AmericanKnitter.com to purchase the knitting DVD set.